would you do if you had the power of perfect prediction? Would you use it to make tons of money betting on sports and games? Or would that be too risky because no one can predict perfectly? Well, you could make it seem like you can predict perfectly, at least for one game involving a deck of cards. And it doesn't require any sleight of hand. Check out this performance.
This video is brought to you by Estate Wine.
All right. Follow instructions exactly.
Okay.
First, show me your most beautifulest riffle shuffle. Ooh. Very precise.
The pressure's on. The pressure's on. Can she do it? Maybe not.
Wow.
She's falling apart.
Stress. The pressure's getting to her. It's not perfect, but
oh!
it came together in the end.
It
That's
came
what really
together
counts.
in the end.
All right. It's time to analyze. I have a good idea based on that. You had like this huge block that didn't even interlace, but
You don't want to draw attention to all my flaws.
and your cut was not as perfect that time. Ooh, but no, actually this part is a pretty good interlace. Improvement towards the middle. Just that one big block at the top is the only thing that might throw this off in terms of my understanding what's going to happen.
Do you want me to go again?
No. We're gonna do it again, but with fewer cards.
Okay.
It's gonna be harder, but I hope it helps that you're warmed up. And since it seemed to come down to my being able to remember things. Oh, did you want red or black?
I'll take black.
Okay. My prediction for the game that is soon to come. You know what? I'm not even going to pull it off this time. We're just going to leave it under there. Okay. Whew, cut off. I haven't told you, but you know what's coming. Cut off like a quarter of the cards and give them to me.
Yeah, I'll give you instructions from this point on.
In case it's not obvious, this is a really hard trick and we're doing it for a second time now. Okay, so let's practice counting a little bit.
Oh.
This time I know you've done this before, so you're able to go faster, so you can keep up with me. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16,
Oh, gosh.
18, 20. Yeah, you can say that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, you can go ahead and drop them.
Okay.
You pulled them up already. Okay. So I had 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see another beautiful riffle shuffle.
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
Oh, what a old reference.
I told you I was warmed up now. That was way better.
Yeah, it was. Oh, give me that 20 count.
Oh.
Give me my cards with.
This is the hardest thing magicians do. I'm convinced.
2, 4, 6.
So, see?
No, you're doing great. That was 2, wasn't it?
No.
Did these 2 come from the bottom?
Something's gone wrong.
Well, just keep going.
Are you
Well,
sure?
how many were at?
So I'll put 8.
8, okay.
Okay.
10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. Okay. Well, now I know for sure that these couldn't have been the same cards that you used before. Okay, so as a reminder, you want to pick up your cards. Here's how the game works. You said you were going black this time.
Are these my cards or are these my cards?
They'll be your cards eventually. For now, we're just doing these.
Okay.
Ready? So, yeah, I declare war. Go.
Wait, do you want to explain the rules?
I'm going to explain it as you go. Flip over to it at the same time. So these don't match.
Okay.
No one gets those, guys.
Okay.
I'm just gonna,
Don't
just
match
go,
the
just
color.
go, just go ahead and
Put it
bury
back.
them. Yeah. Okay. Let's see what happens with the next one. Again, they don't match. Okay. You know what? Let's pretend like it was this.
Okay.
These are both black, so I would get them.
I would get them. I'm black.
You're black. You would get them. And if they were both red, I would get them.
Okay.
Just to not waste time. Here, you can put those together with these.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so. Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Boom.
For me.
For you, okay. No one. For you, oh, you're doing better this time.
For you.
I'm getting back in the game.
For you.
Yep. Yep. Nice. Yes. You don't seem to be very excited when you win.
I don't even know how you like fully win. Just having the most cards.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be really enthusiastic.
Nothing to be enthusiastic. Stop.
Yeah!
I'm out of cards. Game's over.
Fine.
Well,
I can't
leave it for a moment. We got to read the prediction.
Okay.
What does it say?
At game's end, the 4 of spades and queen of spades will be on the table, and I will win by 4 cards.
Me.
David will win by 4 cards. Okay, should we count?
You know what? I'm gonna let you count both of them.
Okay, so
But
mine.
remember that you get these.
Okay, I add them to the stack.
Sure.
Okay. My count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. His count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14!
14 beats 10 by?
4!
Hey, it worked this time.
He did the trick.
So I hope you enjoyed that performance. Before we get into the tutorial, I want to cite my sources. As you could see, we played the game described by Stuart James in his Miraskill effect from 1935. This also uses Penelope's Principle by Alex Elmsley, published in the 50s, but not actually the version that he published. This is actually the version published by Percy Diaconis in Magical Mathematics that removes the perfect Pharaoh shuffle and makes it self-working. But a lot of times self-working effects are the hardest ones to do, so buckle in. This is going to be a very in-depth tutorial. Hope you're ready. First, we're going to talk about prep. This trick can actually be done completely impromptu with a borrowed shuffle deck in use. It doesn't require any setup, but that just means you're going to be doing a lot of setup during performance, which means you're going to have to vamp for a while. So that would be something more for a social setting. If you wanted to do this as part of a show, you're going to want to prep some things in advance. First, you want to go ahead and have most of your prediction written out. So the way I have it set up is you write at game's end the space and space will be on the table, and space will, and then the rest of the card to fill in the rest of it. Then all you have to do is fill in the blanks. When you actually make the prediction, it'll take a lot less time, and you can just set that off to the side face down and no one will know there is anything already written there, so you can just pretend like you wrote it. But importantly, you only have to write down the things that you need to, and you can chat and not let it interrupt the flow of your performance. Another thing you can do is to have a second deck set up already in the stack that you're going to be putting it in, which after some experimentation I found is best when it's 9 of one color, then the, let's see, 13, 17 of the other color, then 17 of the first color, and then 9 of the second color again. So if you want to have that already set up off to the side and, you know, test people to decide who should be your participant using a shuffled deck that you've been using and then switch, that would save a little bit of time. However, it is really easy and quick to set up the deck while chatting. It doesn't require too much thinking. So let's say they've been passing a deck around, it's shuffled, all the colors are mixed together, and you want to, and you say, okay, I need to put the deck in a certain order to see how your shuffle affects those cards. So you can go through, and what you're going to do is up jog all the black cards, or it could be red cards, it doesn't really matter. All the cards of one color, and you strip them out, and move them to the back. And then you're going to count by threes, 9 of those, put them face down on the table from the back. And then from the front, you're going to count 9 also, and then take the ones behind them and put those on, and then the last 9 go on top, and then you are set up in exactly the best order. So when your selected spectator shuffles the cards, there's 2 different results that it could have in the deck, and you're going to do 2 completely different methods. The performance will look the same, but the methods will be different depending on how that looks. So the first method that you might, the first result that you might see should look like this. It won't be this bad. Usually you won't see results as stark as this. But what you're looking for is, where is the big block of colors? Is it close to the bottom? No, the colors are intermingled here, red and black. So it's at the top. There's a big block of black cards at the top. So that's what we're looking for, which means that there's a corresponding big block of red cards about 3/4 of the way down. So that means that you want them to take the top of the deck, and we'll call that method 1, where they take the top. So regardless, either way, you're going to count to 26 while you're chatting, talking about how they shuffled, distributed the cards. You're counting down 26, and when you get to the 26th card, remember it. Don't forget that card. So here it is. Is that it? It's hard to count and talk at the same time. So this was it. Okay. So you're going to remember that since they're taking the top half, you're going to remember the 26 card regardless. And since they're taking the top half, you're going to remember the bottom card. That's going to be the card you end on. And you're going to, from the 26 card, see how many of the wrong color ended up in the block below it. As you can see, none in this case. It's just a huge block of red without any mistakes. Probably won't be like this, because they'll usually cut it closer to the center, but let's just say that you had this card here instead. That changes which one I've got to remember, but whatever. Here, I'm remembering a 4 of hearts, a 3 of spades, and there is 1 black card among the block of red cards. I double that and get 2, which means red wins by 2. And that's all I need to know. At this point, I will ask whether they like red or black cards better, so I know whether they're going to be the winner or the loser. If they say red in this case, they're going to be the winner, and I can reflect that in my prediction. So 3 of spades, 4 of hearts, 2 red wins by. So I'll get my prediction out and fill in the relevant details. Obviously, if you're doing this impromptu, you're going to have to write out the whole shebang, but it doesn't matter what order you put these 2 in. Just put both the cards in their place in the sentence. Will be on the table, and let's say they pick red, so they're going to be the winner. You will... No one's going to take these 2 cards. They're going to get tossed aside. So I'll just straight up say, you will win by 2. And that's my prediction. Now, if it had been the same color, I might add some extra detail in here. Like if they're both red, you will take the pair to win by 2. Or if they're both black, I could say, and I will take the pair, leaving you 2 ahead. Something along those lines, just to make it seem like I'm predicting more, but really I'm just commenting on those being the same color or not. Anyway, I've got my prediction. You give it to the spectator to protect, and then I want them to cut at least 3/4 of the deck. No, not at least 3/4. I want them to cut past that 1 black card that I saw in the red section. So I'll say around 3/4. As long as they cut into the block of red and capture that black card. So I'll have them take that, I'll take the rest, and then I'm going to show them how to count. and I'm going to do it with them. I'm going to count 2, 4, 6, whatever. This is how we're going to count our scores, and I'll go through, I'll show them how to hold the deck. And by the time I get through with mine, their pile, they'll be doing it with me, their pile will be down to a size, the part that's in their hand will be smaller than my pile. And once that is the case, it doesn't matter if they do that with the rest of them. So I could say, why don't you give it one of these shuffles or something like that. I can do that as long as I retain that bottom card, because that's going to be my prediction for myself. And so they could do that if they wanted, or they could do some other kind of shuffle if they wanted, and toss those down on top. And at this point I could explain the game. For this, the method 1, the version where they take the top, there's nothing else that needs to be done at this point. If they understand the game, we can go right into it. And since you saw a presentation, I can fast forward through this part because it doesn't. Almost got ahead of myself here. So when I run out of cards, this is the position we're in. We have the 3 of spades and the 4 of hearts, and we have our result piles over here. So I'm going to ask the spectator to take out my prediction and read it at this point. Say they'll read, at game's end, the 3 of spades and 4 of hearts, I'll point to those as they say them, will be on the table, and you will win by 2. And so I will have them count their pile. And then I can say, use the counting method we practiced. So they'll count 2, 4, 6, 8. And then I'll say, you go ahead and count mine. And they'll count 2, 4, 6. And they'll see that they won by 2, and that's it for method 1. As I said before, method 1 is the easy one. Method 2, there's a big extra step that requires some thinking. So I'm assuming that you've had the deck stacked like this, red, black, black. You hand it out to your participant who shuffles it, and what you get back has a big monochromatic block of black at the bottom and mixed cards at the top. Now you want them to get a big block that's at the end of the deck, which means you need to get them to get the bottom, and you're going to get the top, which means eventually they're going to cut into this red section closer to the top. And you also know, because you're getting the top and they're getting the bottom, you're going to use method 2. So you note, hey, there's a big block of black at the bottom. That means that later on I'm going to need to move 1 red card to the bottom right before we start playing the game. So I'll explain that in a minute, but first, the prediction, which works very similarly to before. You're still going to count to 26. This time it is the 7 of hearts. So that's going to be the one they stop on. You're going to stop on what is currently the top card, because you're going to get the top pile. And your score is going to be going backwards instead of forwards. So back up towards the packet that you're going to get. So in this case we have 2 black cards out of place, which means red will win by 2 times 2 equals 4. So let's make that prediction. The Jack of Spades, the 7 of Hearts, and let's say they're red again. Red is going to win by 4. So you will win by 4. And again, at this point, prediction leaves your hands. So now, since you want the smaller pile and you want the top pile, you're going to ask them to cut off a third. As long as they don't cut past those cards that were out of place, maybe even a little more than that. So your card that you're going to end up is going to be on top of your pile. You're going to need it to get to the bottom before the game you actually play. So you just have to keep track of that while you do the explanation. So you're going to explain to them how to do the milk shuffle, and that will move your card to second from the bottom. Just keep that in mind. So again, you're going to have them milk shuffle down to they have less cards in their hand than they gave you. And then at this point, you're going to explain the rules of the game. And your goal, remember, is to get one red card to the bottom of this pile. So you can say, all right, you pick up your pile, you say, all right, from the hand you're holding, let's just do a couple of practice hands. And you both flip over a card. This is the lucky case. It's red. That's exactly what you want. You can have them score it. Oh, I would get those, sure. And then, all right, great. Put it back on the bottom. Like, you can put your piles back together, throw our cards back onto the bottom. And I know when I do that, it's moving the card I need to end on third from the bottom because it was second from the bottom before. But goal accomplished. One red card moved to the bottom of their pile. I'll go back and go over what could happen in the other cases after I finish this out. So I need to get Jack of Spades, which is third from the bottom, to the bottom, so I can, let's say, milk to hold the bottom back, milk again to hold the second bottom back. Now it's on the bottom, so I could shuffle it to the top, and then shuffle it back down to the bottom. And I could have them do, or I don't know, if I don't want to be seen shuffling, then, like, because the shuffling's already done at this point, then I can just casually, while we're chatting, move two cards from the bottom to the top. It doesn't really matter at this point. The only thing that I need to do is make sure I get that card to the bottom without drawing too much attention to anything I'm doing. All right. So then we play the game out. So fast forward time. And that's my last card. As predicted, the Jack of Spades and Seven of Hearts are on the table. And I've said they will win by 4, so I have them count. In this case, they have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. I have 2, 4, 6, 8. 12 minus 8 is 4. Prediction accomplished. Alright, here's the other considerations for that one tricky part of method 2. Let's say they've milk shuffled off some cards, they're left with this pile. You have the Jack of Spades, you need to get to the bottom of your pile eventually. And you do some practice rounds to try and get a red card to the bottom of this pile. And you go to flip over, and they play a black card. Unlucky, because that's not going to get a red card. There's no way to get a red card out of that. So what do? You say, all right, that would go to me, for instance. Go ahead and put it back. Let's do another. And so you say put it back on the bottom. And they put it back on the bottom. This doesn't hurt anything, except that now it has moved the card that you need to get to end with third from the bottom. That's fine. You keeping track of that. And then you go again. Hey, this time it's good. And now you can just go ahead. Or, let's suppose that the next time you go out, it's like this. Where again, they don't play a red card, but this time you do play a red card. So you can be like, so this would be what? A draw, right? And then you can just say, all right, I think you're ready to play the game. Well, no. You don't stick it there, sorry. You could say, all right, I think we're ready to play. You can go ahead and drop those cards on top of your bigger pile so you have more than me. And you can stick that one on the bottom, and we'll get going. So no matter what you do, you don't get the piles recombined until there's a red card on the table next to them ready to be added to the bottom. And the whole time, as you do that, you're keeping track of where is the card you need to stop on. So throughout the course of all this, I've added an extra 3 cards below it, but I know exactly where it is, so all I need to do is, I could just pick it up, look, and be like, oh, there it is. I could pick it up. I could know it's 4, and I could say just slide it off the table, and those don't come, and then slide those onto the top. Whatever, as long as I end up with that card back where it should be. In fact, what you can do if you're doing this whole thing, you can, when you put it down on the table, let it slide forward. So let's say it was second from the bottom after a milk shuffle. You let it slide forward so you can see that second card and just keep your eyes on it the whole time. So you can, play, and if you need to, move cards to the bottom of your pile, but the whole time you can see, hey, that's the one, whatever, how it's going. You can be like, this is the card I need to eventually get to the bottom of my pile. And so you go to drag it into your hands, you can go and pull it like this, and then, you need to drag that one card with them, drag it into your hands, and drag those on top, and then you get the card you need onto the bottom. So you're just keeping track of where that card is and making sure it ends up on the bottom. And throughout the course of these practice hands, you're watching for a red to come out somewhere and engineering a situation to get it onto the bottom of their big pile. And that's really it. Alright, I know that's a lot and it's really complicated, but that's what it takes to make sure it's surefire and works in all cases. So I've set up this summary. As a reminder, the stack goes 9 red, 17 black, 17 red, 9 black. So you can see that is what it looks like here. And after the shuffle, if you see a block of red on top, that means you're going to be doing method 1, which means they're going to be getting the top of the deck, because they always get the part of the deck that has the big block at the edge of the deck, which is the easy one where they just milk shuffle until they have less cards in their hand than you have, and you make sure your final card stays on the bottom, and everything else just works from there. If there's a big block of black on the bottom, that's the case that you're going to do method 2, which of course means they get the cards on the bottom. And this is the complicated one where after you've done the milk shuffle and any additional shuffling that you want to include as part of the presentation, you need to do some demonstration hands to make sure that you can get one red card out of play and to the bottom of their big pile, while also making sure you get the top card that you originally had to the bottom of your pile. And here is the formula for the prediction that you could have pre-written. At game's end, blank and blank will be on the table and blank will blank. And that's everything you need to remember. Take a screenshot, and if you ever forget how this works, you can just look at all this. Alright, thanks for watching. So you decided to stay past the end of the video to see what extra stuff I might add. Well, luckily for you, I've got a couple of little bonus ideas that you could throw in if you feel like it. So the first is, if you find yourself in this position where the last two cards that come out are the same color, and particularly if that would cause them to be won by your participant, what you can do is, instead of going right into the reveal of the prediction, go ahead at this point and have the scores totaled. So find out how much each player has, take the difference, and confirm that I won by this much. And then, once that's established, reveal this prediction. And so first you can say, oh, look, I got the two cards that would be out at the end right, and I said that you will win by 6 cards. But, oh, wait, I had that you would win by 8 cards. Wait a second. These are both black, so you would have won those, which means that you did win by 8 cards. You get the idea. I think it would be especially effective if, without counting this, it would be a draw. Especially like if they were going to win by 2, and you could be like, oh, well, we tied. I guess we don't get to decide who wins. But let's see how my prediction was. Oh, I said you would win by 2. Then it's like, not only did your mistake get fixed, but also they won when they thought they were going to tie. And the trick to doing this is just making sure that you push these aside and say, we're going to leave these here for now, let's go ahead and count our scores, and just don't make them think about this. Now if they say, actually we need to score those two while we're counting, and they notice and you can't get away with distracting them from it, that's fine. You can just omit this part, right? You don't want to throw them off. Or if you feel like they're going to take it personally that they screwed up, that they were supposed to notice that they were going to count those, you can omit this part. But if you feel like it's going to kick things up, go ahead and include it. Another thing that you can do is, if you want to make it seem like you knew which color they were going to pick, what you can do is, instead of asking what color they want to be right before you write the prediction, just go ahead, if someone's going to win, write I will win every time. And then when it comes time to reveal the prediction, whoever's going to be the winner, whoever you've determined is the winner, will be the one to read the prediction. So if you're going to win, you pick it up, turn it over, and read it to them. And if they win, you say, I wrote this prediction for you to read, so go ahead and read it aloud. They read it, and when they get to that line, they will say, I will win, and they will know that I refers to themselves, because they're the one that's saying it. So either way, it seems like you predicted who was going to win, even before the colors were chosen, which means you can come back after the prediction and reinforce that. You could say, now, it's not just your shuffle that could have thrown everything off here. You could have, if you wanted to, pick the other color, and then you would have won, for instance. And that makes it seem like you not only analyzed their shuffle, but also read their mind and knew which color they were going to pick. So that's the second idea that you can throw in if you like it. And if you think you have any other cool presentational ideas or little tricks that you could throw in here to maybe intensify this thing even more, feel free to drop them in the comments, and if I think they're good, I might even incorporate them into my version. And other than that, I hope you enjoyed this little bonus content, and good luck performing it for yourself.